Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot out in Allen, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as following me on Instagram at GrowFold. That is the fastest and quickest way to get in touch with me directly if you have any questions about plants or want to collaborate with me on any future plant projects. I do have one that I wanted to share with y'all. We have this plant podcast that is going to be debuting on Monday, December 9th at 7:30 on my channel called The Cultivation Corner. Hopefully you will all tune into it. And I do have a little snippet, a little preview of what I've been working along with Janae Simone and Steven at I Live Plants. Super excited to share that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But it is a beautiful morning where I am just going out to this Home Depot to see if we can find the Dock Block Anthurium by Proven Winners. We'll see, but for now, check this out.
Looking at social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, about what trending plants are there. So like say there's like a new plant release, all of a sudden you already have all of these plants.
Exactly.
But then you want to go ahead and add that variegated monstera or just some new release.
I'm much better with it now.
Wow. He has allocations. He's got an allocation.
He has the magic touch then.
Either the magic touch or
he has
something. He has a poly, an allocation poly. No spider mites. He doesn't really water it, and it's in like a
overlooked plants. They also have another common trait. They're cost effective. The price is right for the majority of us, unless you're one of those folks that can, drop $1,000 on a variegated whatever plant.
Wish I could do that. A lot of the plants that we think are specialty plants here are technically not.
And I am just super excited to finally get that plant podcast that we've been working very hard to debut again on December 9th, that Monday, 7:30 on this YouTube channel. We do have a separate official YouTube channel for the Cultivation Corner. Please make sure you are subscribed to that YouTube channel because the rest of the series will have the episodes there. But as you can see right here, I did want to see some more of these Proven Winner LeafJoy plants. Philodendron Florida Bronze. So this one is, I believe, for $29.98, somewhere around that range, maybe even $25, or if it's on sale. But anyways, what I'm really just excited about is the fact that Philodendron Florida Bronze is actually at a big box store. And I have to say that Proven Winners LeafJoy series is really packing in the heat, especially the week of the Black Friday. Thanksgiving is this week, and it's just really exciting to see all of these new plants hit Home Depot. I know that everybody has been looking for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. I can pretty much say that any of the Home Depots out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially in North Dallas, it's going to be very challenging to find any more of those Dock Block Anthurium Michelles. Who knows, I might be able to find one at this location, but I will say a lot of the hype was really on that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. But let's not forget about all the other new plants that Proven Winners has released for the general public. You can see right here, this is a calathea of some sort. I think a calathea rospicta. And then you can see that there is another calathea right here. This is the Thoreau. Now, this is actually a calathea that has already been released by Proven Winners, but they have a fresh batch of plants that I've sent to a lot of the Home Depots at least in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where I'm based at. I remember when I found the Dock Block Anthurium Michelle, there was even some Monstera Thai constellations, and that's just the thing about Proven Winners LeafJoy. I know that we talk a lot about Costa Farms trending tropical plants just because that's more readily available at Lowe's, and that is one of the big box stores I typically go plant shopping for. But ever since I started looking for that Dock Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners at Home Depot, I've noticed that Proven Winners has actually brought in a lot of plants that Costa Farms hasn't released. For instance, Dieffenbachia marcia. So this is actually a really nice neon colored Dieffenbachia. Now again, with Dieffenbachia, they do need quite a bit of light and they prefer more humidity for them to really stay happy. Unfortunately, the one I had, the Dieffenbachia Sublime, I ended up having to part ways with it just because it kept on dropping its leaves. It got super leggy, and it's one of those situations where if if a plant doesn't really give you the joy that it you expect it to, it's okay to go ahead and part ways with that plant. Either having somebody else either rescue the plant, adopt the plant, or it might be a little bit controversial, but even composting the plant. I always say that plants should not add stress to your life. If anything, plants should enhance your mindfulness. Your stress level should be reduced because of plants. So don't allow plants to stress you out. It's easier said than done, because I know a lot of us want plants to grow and thrive in our care, but sometimes our environments may not necessarily be conducive to the plant being able to grow as well as we expect it to. Now this Calathea leopardina, beautiful plant as well. Calatheas, I'm telling you, they are the biggest heartbreakers. They are the biggest temptress. They're so tempting to purchase because look at how perfect the leaves are. Unfortunately, at least in my experience, I speak from my experience, they're just very challenging to take care of long term. So I always just say, hold off from Calatheas if you don't have the right conditions, such as high humidity and frequent watering. Now this one is a Geodanthus Popii, I can't even really pronounce it, but anyways, this is a geo plant, and I know that I had a Geonanthus plant, just the black version by Costa Farms, but this one is an interesting one as well. Here's the thing about Geonanthus plants. They need to be frequently watered. I am an underwaterer. I am somebody who doesn't really water my plants as often as they need to, but for some reason, I am just really wanting to buy this plant. It has beautiful texture. It's very unique. What I think I'm gonna do though is if I buy this plant today, this Geonanthus plant, I will probably put it in semi-hydroponic substrate, Lechuza Pond. And I did want to say thank you to my friend Vic and Vines in Dallas, Texas, for getting me another Lechuza Pond, bag. Because right now, Amazon is actually out of stock of Lechuza Pond, and rumor has it Lechuza Pond may not be available until the early next year. So I am really just desperate looking for Lechuza Pond. I just feel like Lechuza Pond is going to be more of a solution for any of us who struggles with certain plants growing in just a soil substrate. But as you can see right here, again, Proven Winners LeafJoy has these beautiful Hoyas. This is a really sun-stressed Hoya, or maybe another variety that really pushes out a lot of pink. The thing about Hoyas is I prefer Hoyas because they're very forgiving plants. They can thrive with a little bit more neglect. You don't necessarily have to water them as often, and they have really beautiful colors, especially if you sun stress them. Calathea ornata, this is one of those classic Calatheas that I would love to grow long term, but again, Calatheas, at least in my care, I've given them so many chances to try to grow in my my environment. For some reason they're just not able to grow. But look at how beautiful this one is. I really love the pink lining of this plant. It almost reminds me of some of these Aglaonemas. As far as an Aglaonema versus a Calathea, I would say anybody watching this video, choose the Aglaonema versus the beautiful Alocasia. Well, Alocasia just because they're a little bit more challenging as well, but especially Calatheas versus Aglaonemas. You already know I love Aglaonemas. If you've been watching my videos for the longest time, I will talk about Aglaonemas, even if there isn't an Aglaonema in the video at the very moment, because one of my biggest goals is to really influence you into looking at more Aglaonemas and really growing them into your collections. I always say plant trends tend to become trends because there is a certain influencer or there is a lot of dialogue around a specific plant. So yes, I will be talking about Aglaonemas. But let's go ahead and talk about the Proven Winner plants that we have here. It looks like they have some more Adrift Hoyas right here. You can see this one is actually sun stressed because the edges of the leaves, the borders of the leaves have a nice deep red border around it. That's what happens with certain Hoyas. If you provide them with quite a bit of light, they will actually give you a little bit more color. Now this one is an Alocasia letribiana. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now this is another Alocasia I've seen in the past. I love the fact that, Proven Winners LeafJoy series is producing more of these Alocasias. I love the fact that Proven Winners has actually introduced a lot of different types of Alocasias into the market. I know this year we've seen quite a bit of jewel Alocasias. We've seen the Black Velvet, we've seen the Silver Dragon. So a lot of these big box stores have these plants. Now these ones are for $29.98. Again, this one is a really healthy looking alocasia. And what's really good is if you buy plants from a big box store as soon as they've been shipped from, say, the nursery like Proven Winners, I would go ahead and buy it, just because that's when the plant is the most healthy, or I feel like that is when the plant has the least damage, whether it's just sat in a big box store or it's been sitting there for a while and it's a little bit stressed. Especially with alocasias, I would say now is the time to buy these plants from Proven Winners. I am a huge fan of Proven Winners just because they do have quite a bit of a selection of plants, and I love the fact that they made more plants readily available for the everyday plant lover like myself. I don't necessarily have the biggest funds to invest in some of these rare and uncommon plants, but the fact that Proven Winners, just like Costa Farms, has been able to make these plants a little bit more accessible to the general public is really exciting. Now over here we have a Philodendron Silver Sword, and I love the Philodendron Silver Sword because of just the color of it. It's got a silver foliage, and the thing about it is this particular philodendron definitely wants to climb, and it's really nice to see that Proven Winners is now providing a pole for the plant to climb. Specifically for the Philodendron Silver Sword, that is one of those plants that you see the most beauty or the full potential of the plant when you allow it to climb on a pole, because the leaves get larger, they kind of change shape in the leaves, and it just mimics the natural growth pattern of the actual plant. Here is an Alocasia cucullata. Now, I actually found some Alocasia cucullatas that were sport variegated at this particular Home Depot a little while back. And, that's the thing about, these plants that get released in a big box store. Sometimes you can get lucky and find some sport variegation. Now, sport variegation isn't necessarily a variegation that's going to be stable, but it's always interesting to see variegation. I always feel like people go after variegated plants in general. So if you see like a little speckle of white, we get excited about it. I always also say that plants that aren't necessarily variegated can also bring us a lot of joy. Honestly, they're probably less stressful than, say, a variegated plant, because the plant has a little bit more vigor. It has more green, which makes the plant it has more chlorophyll, and it can photosynthesize, and it's just a healthier plant. Now, as far as this Hoya carnosa though, beautiful pink coloration. I'm actually tempted to purchase it and to see if it will actually hold its pink colors. Hoya carnosas in general, they're more of the common plant to find. And then check out the Nanthe plant. This one is the Never Never plant. I actually got one of these. It was actually a live trends plant that I bought at not Costa Farms, Lowe's a little while back, that I got for 50% off. And surprisingly, for the Nanthe, this plant is actually not a challenging plant. It's more forgiving than even a Stromanthe Triostar. I actually have one that's growing very well for me. It doesn't even get nearly as much light. I will say that it does need frequent watering, and I'm surprised that it's been forgiving for me in the sense that I don't necessarily water it as often. But I love the fact that Proven Winners has actually gotten this plant as well. It's not a plant that hasn't been released. I've seen this plant before years back when I first started collecting houseplants seriously, but I'm just glad that Proven Winners has this released again. Now, as far as the coloration of this particular plant, I'm not 100% sure if it's really influenced by the amount of light you give it, whether you're going to get more neon colors, or it's one of those plants that it just has the color because it's pretty random. Alocasia Stingray. This is for $29.98, again by Proven Winners LeafJoy series. Love this Alocasia because that Alocasia just has a really nice structure about it. You can see the leaf shade. It really does look like a stingray. And this is an Alocasia that can get really, really large. I actually have one that's growing underneath one of my Japanese maples. I really need to bring it inside because temperatures in North Dallas have started to really dip low. So hopefully I will be able to kind of overwinter some of my plants. But this Alocasia Stingray, that is one that I definitely want to grow in semi-hydroponics. I really think that Alocasias do best in leca, but sometimes, not leca, I'm sorry, lechuzapon, but I don't really have a big, supply of lechuzapon. And then you can see right over here, we've got a Monstera deliciosa. That is a classic plant. It is one of those plants that we definitely need to make sure we keep in our plant collections. And then we have a Ficus Audrey right here. Ficus Audrey, I actually have one that I've had for about a year and a half. It is about 5 feet tall. It's growing outside in one of my planters, but what I'm afraid of is when winter comes, I'm not really gonna have any space for it, but you can see right here, I'm just so excited. I found a Philodendron Florida Bronze. So I now have the Philodendron Florida Beauty, which is the variegated one. I've got the Philodendron Florida Green, which is the green version, and now I will be buying a Philodendron Florida Bronze. Obviously, these are juvenile leaves. This is gonna be a plant that you need to actually put up on a pole, some type of support for it to climb up, and then the leaves will actually mature. I love that deep color. Now I feel like, or I've read somewhere that the Philodendron Florida Bronze is actually a cross or a hybrid between two plants, maybe a black cardinal and something else. I mean, somebody in the comment section, please leave it in the comment section if you know. And then we also have a new release. This is a Philodendron Fuzzy Petiole. Love this plant as well, and this is another plant that definitely gets better as it starts to climb up a pole. Now I've seen this with really large leaves, and that's the thing about philodendrons. Philodendrons, in my opinion, for the most part, they are more of an easy care plant. There are some more philodendrons that might need a little bit more humidity, but in general, philodendrons are actually not a challenging genus of plants to take care of, except for maybe the more velvety textured philodendrons that are a little bit more susceptible to spider mites and need a little bit more humidity to really do well. But as you can see right here, super excited that Proven Winners has actually produced more plants, have sent us more plants like this right here, Hoya Quintiana, or what you call the variegated Wyetii. These are only for $5.98. I repeat, $5.98 for Hoyas. Now, sometimes Hoyas can be a little bit pricey, but whenever you have a major nursery like Proven Winners producing masses of these plants, it just makes the price point a little bit more within the range of what we are willing to spend. I always tell people, if you're going to buy a plant, the plant's price has to feel right. The price has to be right. And whether you're willing to spend just a little bit more on certain plants, that really varies from person to person. For me, it's really whether I'm really attached to that particular plant. So I'll use this as an example. If I find an Aglaonema that I'm trying to import from Indonesia, I might spend $100 on that really uncommon Aglaonema. Would that be something I would spend on a normal basis, say if I find it at a big box store? No, it's really a case-by-case basis. But as far as like plant shopping at a big box store, the great thing about it is you're not gonna see insane prices for these plants. So I feel like that is such a good, thing about big box store plant shopping. The fact that Proven Winners again has released a bunch of these new plants, and you can see that they have shelves that they actually ship out to the big box store. They've got trays, and then I did want to show you this beautiful calathea. Again, it's one of those things where calatheas, when you see them in a big box store and they're super fresh, their leaves are gorgeous, it makes you want to pick up the plant. They have their own way of marketing themselves, but lo and behold, give it about 2 to 3 weeks. If you don't provide them the care that they need, they're just not going to do well. This is another Dieffenbachia Seguin. This is also known as, I think, the Dieffenbachia crocodile. Correct me if I'm wrong, but look at how beautiful and stunning the leaves are. Now, this is a Dieffenbachia alongside the Dieffenbachia Marcia that I would totally buy from Proven Winners LeafJoy series. That's something that I would love to add in my plant collection. I would just need to find a space where I can definitely stay on top of the watering, definitely give them the lighting conditions that they need, and also definitely make sure that they have some humidity. My family is originally from the Philippines, and when I say that Dieffenbachia can just grow outdoors in that tropical climate, they just do very well. And that is really what the kind of environment they need. But look at how gorgeous that green on green variegation is. There's a really stark difference between that Dieffenbachia's like leaf texture versus some of the other houseplants that we would see. And I also love the neon or yellow type plants. You can see right here we have a Philodendron golden crocodile. This has also been released by Costa Farms, but you can see the Philodendron golden crocodile is another plant that I feel like everybody should add. You know, the serrated leaves of this plant, it's really beautiful. It is another plant that needs to grow up a pole eventually. And then you can see right over here, this is that Geonanthus plant that I will definitely be purchasing. It is one of those plants that I didn't really intend to buy, so you would, you know, pretty much call this an impulse buy. And I'm telling you, I probably have a legitimate plant addiction, a plant shopping addiction, and I can't really stop myself from buying plants whenever I'm filming this kind of content. So, you know, I am putting myself out there, plant foldies. All I have to say is, if you want to support the channel and you made it this far into the video and you haven't hit the like button, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. I know that we have several people that watch the live premieres, but I'm hoping that the people that watch the live premieres will also give me just a little bit more of support and a push by hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps it a lot, as well as engaging with me. Like I said, as much as I love to talk to you about plants, I also love to read your comments and give me all the plant stories you want to give me. I will respond to it, and really it's going to make my holiday season, this hectic time of the year, even more easy to, I guess, overcome, because I have that support from our plant foldy community. And for those that are new to the channel, I do call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. The reason being is I originally had this channel as an origami ASMR channel, where I was literally folding origami paper cranes every day and posting those videos. But then I figured that there would be a little bit more of a pull by converting it back into a plant channel, just because I think that there is more of an audience for that. But I will actually include more origami paper cranes into my videos, just because that's a little bit part of myself. You know, something that's interesting is I actually have a goal of folding 1 million paper cranes in my lifetime. I fold origami paper cranes alongside having a 10-hour job that I do, alongside creating these plant YouTube videos, alongside doing, you know, plant podcasts, and then also entertaining my friends and families. Yes, I still have time to fold paper cranes, because I hope that I can actually accomplish that in my lifetime. I have actually been folding origami paper cranes for about 7 years now, so we'll see what that looks like. But going back to the plants, very excited to see that Proven Winners LeafJoy series does have some plants. Now these plants right here on this rack are more of the older plants, but like this one right here is a beautiful Philodendron mayoi. Love the look of this philodendron, and I'm so happy that Proven Winners has actually made it accessible for us to get the Philodendron mayoi. Even though it's just a green version of the plant, it's still a gorgeous plant. It's a plant that's actually fairly easy to take care of. And I just remember the Philodendron mayoi alongside with like the Philodendron tortum were philodendrons that were really expensive about 4 to 5 years ago. You know, as the plant market continues to evolve and more plants become more readily available, it's just nice to see that there is just a bigger selection of plants. There's just more plants that for the avid plant lover like myself, and for those that watch this video, you just have more options, especially when you are going to a big box store like Home Depot. I say that you do save money whenever you buy at a big box store. I also say that you should always support small businesses and local nurseries, but big box stores are a little bit more readily accessible for the general public. You know, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we do have a plethora of different local nurseries as well to choose from. And so that is always, you know, a plus. But maybe for somebody that doesn't have a lot of plant nurseries around, you already know that at some point you will be around a big box store. And that's the reason why I do a lot of big box store plant shopping videos. I try to do them daily. You know, things have just been super busy for me the last 3 weeks. You know, the holiday season is just really, it's just very, very busy. And I did want to say that at least I get, you know, time off on Thanksgiving. I'm going to be spending it with my family and then just back into the grind. But, you know, there are a lot of things that I'm excited to share. And that is obviously our plant podcast, The Cultivation Corner. Please make sure you guys are subscribed to the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. We only have about 43 subscribers, and I already know plant foldies. There are 11,196 subscribers here. If you watch this video please, please, please help Richie out, help Grow Folds out to grow that plant podcast, because that is something that I've really been working hard on with my my friend Janae Simone and Stephen of I Lift Plants. We'll be talking about plants like this, talking about proven winners plants, our plant commentary about trending plants, how to get out of plant burnout, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think there's really a lot of plant podcasts dedicated. And since I already talk about plants for almost an hour every single day, whenever I am able to post, I just feel like that plant podcast will just give you a little bit of a twist and give you a little bit more entertainment. It's actually pretty funny. I actually watched the first episode, which will debut on my channel, and I thought it was pretty entertaining. But anyways, as you can see right there, I was able to show you some of the Proven Winners LeafJoy series, some of the new plants that they've got available. And then I'm going to this next big box store. Again, this is Home Depot, and this one is off of El Dorado Road in Frisco, Texas. It's right next to a Costco, right next to the Dallas North Tollway. And I just wanted to check out this Home Depot to see if, number one, there are still some Dock Block Antheria Michelles by Proven Winners. I'm still on that kick, and it's interesting because a lot of people are still searching for it. I am just really thankful that the day they hit and touched down in Dallas, I was able to at least get one. I remember seeing about 3 of them, but I wasn't going to be that person that was going to just buy all of them up. It's already a bad thing for a lot of people that buy these more rare and uncommon plants to just go ahead and resell. If you are a reseller, that to me isn't necessarily helping the plant community. I think it's selfish. I think, plants shouldn't be resold. I think they should be more accessible to people. And I just remember a couple of stories where people would have just bought all of the Dock Block Anthuriums and then they just want to resell it. It's kind of like when that person or some of the people that I've heard of buy a lot of the Monstera Thai constellations when they first got released, and then they were starting to sell them for a much higher price to people that may not have access to those plants. So for anybody that is thinking about reselling plants, my opinion is, you can make a quick buck, but I always feel like whenever you're reselling those plants, sometimes you're taking the joy away from somebody who genuinely wants to just buy the plant at a pretty cost-effective price. I guess that there is, different, thought processes on whether, plant selling, reselling plants is a way to make money. I just think that flipping plants for a quick profit takes away the joy of, actually letting somebody find that plant for a cost-effective price. Let me get off of my soapbox a little bit. And that's the thing about this channel. Sometimes I could just talk to you about some of my plant thoughts. You'll have to excuse me. And I know that some people will say that I probably ramble on a little bit too much. Hopefully it's not always the case, but that's just going to be me. And that's the thing. Everybody will always have an opinion about how you go about your, how you go about yourself, how you go about your daily lives. But for me, and I think for those that are really into just the content I create, I always want to be my most authentic self, because if you can't be authentic for yourself, then you're always going to have to, change and mold yourself to please others. And I've gotten to the point where I may not always please people. I may not always, tick somebody's bucket of tea. I've already been given a lot of feedback. Some people hate it when I say Hydra Helix, or what else? What are some other things? Or they don't like the music I choose for my videos, or maybe I do talk a lot. But again, it's one of those things where this is my plant channel. I mean, I am open to feedback, but at the same time, I kind of want to do things the way I want to do things and make adjustments if needed. I know that I've spent a lot of time really just giving you guys more plant insights, because I've talked a lot about plant care, and feel free to leave in the comments about some of the plants you're seeing, whether you have questions about them, whether you want to know about the plant care tips. I will say a lot of these plants, like these hanging baskets of succulent plants, just like most succulents, they are definitely going to need to be in soil substrates that are fast draining. You don't want to overwater them. So if you're going to water a succulent, you want to water it when the soil is completely dry. And also, if you're going to water succulents, try not to get their foliage wet if it's possible. And then also provide them with quite a bit of light, whether it's direct sun, Some of them may not tolerate direct sun, so do your research, but definitely lots of bright light. If you're gonna grow succulents indoors, you're gonna need to try to put them in a situation where they're either facing a south-facing window or a west-facing window, or better yet, put them under a grow light. They're gonna do better for you in that sense if you just put them in under a grow light. Now, as far as the Christmas cactus or Thanksgiving cactus, they are readily available at this time of the year. I know that you saw a bunch of those poinsettias earlier. Now, the thing about poinsettias is they tend to want to be on the more moist side, so you want to water them a little bit more frequently. Now, as far as this one right here, I didn't even realize that peperomias are kind of similar to succulents. They're kind of similar in that sense, and I can see that because whenever you touch the leaves of a peperomia, sometimes they have that waxy texture. Now, this one right here is a string of raindrops, and I don't really have a lot of string of anything. The only string of anything I have is a variegated string of hearts, which honestly has done very well for me. It's a fast grower. Some of it is actually reverted back to green, more of just a green version. But you know, as far as finding a variegated string of hearts, I found it at Walmart for $12.98. It is about 4 feet trailing now, and it's been doing very well for me. But as far as a Christmas cactus, that's a plant that I want to add to my collection. I want to find one that has a really nice color, maybe that fuchsia color, and you know, grow it. It's a plant that I've been told has actually been an heirloom plant. It's an easy plant to grow for the most part. At least that's what I've been told. So we'll see if I'm able to grow that. But as many plants as I've already added in the last couple of days, I honestly need another 2 to 3 days of just free time to really tend to my plants. I just have so many plants. You know, people have asked me how many plants I actually have. I have over 100 plus plants. A lot of those plants, some of them are actually not doing as well because I haven't had a chance to really tend to their needs. And to me, that's really selfish on my sense to continue to add plants to my collection, even though I know time-wise, I may not necessarily be able to tend to their plants. And you know, that is a running theme about just some of the plants that I do plant shopping, is the fact that it's about balancing and having the routines to take care of your plants. Like this one right here, these are the H2O bowls by LeafJoy series. These are actually plants that are grown hydroponically, which means that they're growing in straight water. These are on sale, 50% off. They're $10. And you know, these plants, you can choose the different varieties. I wouldn't really recommend this Calathea, for instance, or is it a Stromanthe? One of them, but it's very similar, right? Because these plants are just finicky to me, and I hate to sound like I'm really trying to discourage people from Calatheas, Stromanthes, even prayer plants, but at least from speaking from my past experiences, they just haven't been able to grow well for me long term. And I think that's a lot of everybody's goal, is to be able to grow plants long term, to be able to see them thrive, to be able to propagate from them, to make them a mother plant. Leave in the comments of plant foldies if there are certain plants that you've been able to grow for many years, and what plants you've struggled with. I mean, I'm looking at all of these LeafJoy plants again. This one is an A-drift Hoya for $5.98. And that's the thing about Proven Winners. I hope that Proven Winners LeafJoy series continues to churn out even more plants, because it's just so exciting to see them become more readily available. Just a selection of plants. I mean, the fact that I saw a Philodendron Florida Bronze, that's a plant that I've been looking for a long time. But every time I look for a Philodendron Florida Bronze, it's always been a really expensive plant. Now that Proven Winners LeafJoy has actually, you know, released it to Home Depot, and I was able to buy it, I am just, you know, over the moon with that. And that's the thing about going to big box stores. That's what makes this fun, you know, is to be able to find a plant that you couldn't really attain until recently. And I'm just curious to see what 2025 will bring. You know, there's always question about what plant is actually going to be trending, what plants are going to be making a comeback. I would definitely say the Monstera Albo right now is still holding its price tag, but I think that the pricing for Monstera Albos is going to decrease because there's just more accessibility for that plant. I would also say that the variegated alocasias are going to be a little bit more cost effective. I've already noticed that because when you think about, say, going to PlantCon 2024 in Houston earlier this year and then seeing even the variegated alocasias reduce in price by the time there was a PlantCon 2024 in Dallas, you could just see that plant trends, especially with the plant availability, the cost is going to reduce. I mean, every 6 months, you know, if you give a plant 6 months, especially for one that's trending, you'll see that there's going to be more production for the plant. And when there's more plants that are readily available, especially if they make it at a big box store, then you will be able to acquire that plant. But as you can see right here, this particular Home Depot doesn't necessarily have quite a bit of plants. So I did want to just spend a little bit of time just either talking about some of the plants that I don't always cover, particularly some of the seasonal plants like these Norfolk Pine by Costa Farms, but also just looking at these succulents and cactus. I do like that they aren't really that expensive. They're only for $5.98, and you can see that there's many different varieties of them. Now for my succulent and cactus plant foldy lovers, I urge you to leave comments in the comments section about your succulents and cactus, what you want to see, because I am going to just spend a little bit of time picking up these succulents and cactus and just letting you look at them. Again, I love the insights. And again, if you haven't already, please make sure you're hitting that like button for this video. It definitely helps push this video out to more plant lovers like yourself. I'm hoping that by the end of December, we'll have about 12,000 plant foldies, 12,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel. It's been quite a bit of a journey, but it's one journey that I want to even elevate even more so, add even more effort and time into it as 2025 comes around. And what I like about succulents, especially these echeverias, is just how they have that rosette looking shapes that they have. And there's just many different varieties. I mean, they have more of a pastel looking color to the plants. And then we also have this right here. Let's take a look at this. I'll just show you the plant ID. This is another type of aloe vera. And again, I just didn't realize that there were many different varieties of aloe vera plants. They definitely have many different textures, but you can see some of the plants that I'm really into, and I'm just going to keep showing you different varieties of aloe vera. Like, take a look at this one right here. What do you think about this aloe vera? I do like that it just has a really nice texture to its leaves. And again, this is only for $5.98. So it's a really cost-effective plant price. And I do feel like if you get into succulents and cactus, it's kind of one of those plants that will get you in a rabbit hole where you just want to collect them all. This one right here, I almost dropped it. This is a really cool looking Crusala, and this is the lemon and lime one. So it's a variegated jade plant, and I love jade plants because that is actually a succulent that I'm a little bit more familiar. Is just the jade plants. As a kid, my mom and my grandmother grew these, and you know, that's just one of the plants. And I think that a lot of plants that we tend to grow in our plant collections are either through exposure from our family or just something that you've grown up with. Succulents aren't necessarily plants that I'm really in tune with, because my grandmother, who basically got me into plants, never really grew a bunch of succulents. I would say the only type of succulent plants that she grew would be desert rose and plumerias, and even then I don't know if those are necessarily succulent type plants. But as far as like these true succulents right over here, I mean this one right here, so I really love the look of this shape right here. Look at this one, and this one is a serpentina one. I could just imagine this one becoming a really large one. And I do have 2 succulents I ended up getting. It's an Echeveria Lola that I bought when it was actually on sale at Home Depot. And that's the thing about succulents. They tend to go on sale a little bit more frequent than, say, like your houseplants, like your philodendrons, your aeroids, or some of those houseplants that you would find that are either sourced out from, Home Depot, like at Proven Winners Plants, or Costa Farms Plants. And as far as all of these succulents, again, I keep showing you all of the different shapes, sizes, and colors, and I'm really enjoying it. As far as this particular Home Depot, it doesn't really have a lot of the indoor tropical plants, but I will say they have quite a bit of succulents. So I am going to spend a lot of time with that. Hopefully I don't lose y'all's attention for it, because a lot of this plant, shopping I try to cater to as many plant lovers as possible. And I have been given a lot of direct messages asking me to show more succulents and cactus. So I'm trying to actually show you guys that. This is another Crusala, and take a look at the edges of the leaves. That really nice bright red edge. That's really nice. And I think that as that jade plant or Crusala gets more exposure to sun, it's going to have more pronounced red borders. And then this one right here is another Crusala, the ogre ears, really cool looking Crusala. And I think if I'm gonna say as far as succulents, the 2 succulent families that I like would definitely be Crusala or jade plants, and then also aeoniums. And then you can see right here, this one is for $6.98. This is a Norfolk pine by Costa Farms. So Costa Farms has shipped out quite a bit of Norfolk pine, and if you think about the price that they're asking for these Norfolk pine, it's really not that expensive. I would say it's pretty cost effective. And if you want a living type tree, Christmas tree, Norfolk pines are really popular. The thing about it is Norfolk pines need quite a bit of light, and you need to make sure you are staying on top of the watering if you want to grow them long term past the holidays. And then over here there is a table of some Philodendron orchids. These are for $22.98. And no matter what time of the year, Philodendron orchids are just readily available. We also have some bromeliads, which are also on sale. So I'm just going to show you more of these flowering type plants that you can grow indoors. And plant foliage, you can see right over here, we have an Epipremnum aureum neon pothos. Love neon pothos. Neon pothos for $19.98 by Vigoro Plants. Nice hanging basket. There's a little bit of cosmetic damage on certain leaves, but overall, look at how bright this is. And this is actually out, me shopping at night, but you can see how bright this actual plant is. It is a plant that I would recommend for everybody to add into your plant collection. Now, pothos plants in general are easy to care for, and they're readily available. So, those are 2 pluses if you're going to add a plant to your houseplant collection. This is another Hoya carnosa. This again is for $19.98 by Vigoro Plants, and that is another easy to care for plant. Easy care plants, everybody needs to add them. Easy care plants make our lives easier. It's just easy, basically. And these are plants that you can find at Home Depot or any big box stores. And now I wanted to take a little bit of time showing you the different types of Altman Reserve succulents and cactus. Now, these are a little bit more curated plants. And what I'm going to do is, instead of me flashing the plant ID in like a subtitle, I'm just going to show you the plant ID with the label. But the Altman Reserve is actually more of the curated versions of the succulents and cactus. You can see that is a particular type of aloe vera that's a little bit more uncommon, and there's just many different varieties of them. I ask anybody who is actually into succulents and cactus to just leave a comment in the comment section about some of this the succulents and cactus that you like this one right here is an aloe vera. Really like the look of this one as well. And you know what, I actually ended up getting a variegated aloe vera at Home Depot a little while back, and it's actually done well for me. And when you think about plants for the holiday season, sometimes mixed planters could make a really good gift for the holidays. You can see this is another mixed planter of succulents. And this isn't a bad little arrangement as well. I think it's got some really nice texture. There's a lot of different types of colors, and you know, it's one of those easy to care for succulent arrangement. You don't necessarily have to worry about actually making the arrangement. It's already there for you. And then this one right here is a crimson dragon aloe vera. Look at how cool that is. And you can just see that these have many interesting textures to the leaves. So I'm just going to keep pulling up some of these Altman Reserve succulents and cactus. I do ask anybody that likes these cactus or succulents to leave comments and let me know what you think about the succulents I'm showing you or the cactus I'm showing you in this video. Now this is a cactus or euphorbia that I have, and it is a variegated euphorbia. Look at how pretty that is. It doesn't even look real, but I actually ended up getting one of these in my plant collection, and it really doesn't have a lot of care. It grows under a grow light. I barely water it. I probably haven't watered it in over a month or even a month and a half, and it's still doing very well for me. So super excited about that. And then you can see that there is another type of euphorbia right over here. Now all of these Altman Reserve succulents and cactus, I always say if you like succulents and cactus a little bit more unique ones, go with the Altman Reserve ones. I think the ones that are at Home Depot, they're a little bit more readily available, and you can see that there's just many different types to choose from. You know, the price I think is $19.98, which isn't bad. And then you also have these succulent arrangements. That one is for $36.98, but if you just want a whole planter of different types of succulents and cactus, you know, you can just buy one like this. And what's good about succulents and cactus is that they have very similar care tips and environmental needs. So, you know, it makes sense to actually make a mixed planter of them. And then you can see right over here, Smart Plants is the main plant nursery that actually provides for Home Depot in terms of their succulents and cactus. I know for Lowe's, the succulents and cactus are provided by Oasis Plants. And then for Walmart, it would be Element Plants. So, you know, all three major big box stores in the United States have different plant providers. I would even say Home Depot is probably the main big box store that Proven Winners actually sends plants to. Now, I haven't really seen any Proven Winner plants out in Walmart, and definitely not out in Lowe's unless I'm missing them, at least in the indoor tropical section. Now, let's talk about this. For $26.98, this is a beautiful variegated euphorbia again, and I was actually tempted to purchase this. I know that I have just been on a kick about just doing plant impulse buys, but how can you not want to buy this? Like, I think this is fabulous. Look at the colors. Like, this is the one I would want to buy for $26.98. You know, people have asked me, like, as far as the holidays, if you're wanting to give me a Christmas gift, I always tell people, get me, you know, a Home Depot gift card, a Lowe's gift card. I tell my family that because then it could fund my plant obsession, my plant impulse buys like this. And to all of the plant foldies that have actually taken the time and given me that generosity to leave a super sticker or a super thanks, which is a way to send me a monetary tip through my videos. I really appreciate it. It's one of those things that have actually helped fund my gas that I spend driving from one big box store to another, and then also just, you know, supplying me with a little bit of funds to purchase some of the plants that I like to feature. So I did want to take a little of time to say thank you to those that have actually sent a super sticker, super thanks. To my plant foldy Rose, I miss seeing you on the live chats. I know that you've sent quite a bit of super stickers and thanks. I really appreciate it. I still have your red Aglaonema succum, and we will meet up soon to where I can get you that Aglaonema. Thank you for being such an avid supporter of the plant content that I create. I mean, this right here, guys, I think I should probably go back and buy it. And the good thing about this Home Depot is I'm only based about 10 minutes away from this Home Depot, so I could potentially come back. I don't think there's a lot of people just running out and buying these succulents and cactus, as compared to people going all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area looking for that Doc Block Anthurium Michelle by Proven Winners. It was insane when I actually found it at that one Home Depot. I think it was was it Tuesday? Or no, it was like Wednesday evening last week. And it was just crazy because I could just see people just piling into these big box stores. And a lot of it has to do with, obviously, you know, an Anthurium is actually a trending plant, but also just that social media presence where people are talking about it. You know, people are posting about it on Facebook. People like myself are talking about it on YouTube. You can see it on TikTok. And it's just interesting how plants become really popular because of the rise of social media. Now, this aloe vera right here, I ended up buying a little while back. It's doing very well for me. Beautiful, variegated aloe vera, and it does produce a lot of pups. And that's the thing about some of the plants. I like plants that actually produce pups because you can just separate them from the mother plant and then you're able to get another free plant. I'm all about propagating plants. I'm all about, you know, sharing my plant propagations with my friends and family and even fellow plant foldies. I'm hoping at some point next year we can do some more in-person meetups outside of a plant show. There's a lot of DFW plant foldies that I would love to connect with. The ones that have already met in person, you guys are awesome. You make these plant videos a lot of fun, and even though I do talk about the same plants on a daily basis, I'm still thankful that you give me that opportunity to express myself, to talk about plants. Maybe I'm able to give you a little bit of company for those that may not necessarily have people around to hang out with, you know, to talk about plants. And, you know, those that have actually shared some of their personal life on the comment section about whether you're struggling with something or maybe celebrating a plant win. I appreciate that because I know that I've expressed myself quite a bit on some of my plant shopping videos. I know that I've actually talked more about plant insights versus the plants that I'm showing you on film, because a lot of my earlier plant shopping videos, I basically would tell you, here is the plant name, here is the plant price, and then move on with it. I do want these plant shopping videos to be more of an interactive conversation where I'm basically just talking to you as if you are walking around with me at a big box store. So yes, a lot of people have asked, Richie, you haven't shown your face. You're going faces on YouTube. Trust and believe it's not because I am shy. It's because there is a certain level where I want to just kind of keep it all about the plants versus me in general. Now you will actually see more of me physically on the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast, and I just can't tell you how exciting it is to finally debut our season 1 plant podcast. If you haven't already, definitely check out some of the snippets and previews of some of our podcasts. It's really funny. There's a lot of open dialogue between me, Janae Simone, and Steven at I Live Plants. And I do want to urge everybody to subscribe to Janae Simone's YouTube channel as well as Steven of I Live Plants. The first, second, and third episodes are all going to be uploaded in our, on our respective channels. Like the debut episode is going to go on my channel. The second episode will go on Janae's channel, and Steven's channel will have the third episode, and then it will go back to the Cultivation Corner 4th 5th and 6th episodes will actually be on our official Cultivation Corner plant podcast. So the first 3 episodes have already been uploaded, so I urge everybody to make sure, like the one on my video that's scheduled, to click on it. You can already hit the like button. You can already leave comments in the comment section for the first episode, and to share that that actual link to more people. That way we can have a huge debut plant party Monday, December 9th at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be a fun time. You know, Janae Simone and Stephen of I Live Plants will actually be there. But as you can see right here, Plant Foldies, I've kind of just spent a little time picking up plants, showing you all of these succulents and cactus. I am curious to see what everybody is doing for Thanksgiving, if you celebrate Thanksgiving holiday, and if you are actually going to go Black Friday shopping this coming Black Friday. I can't believe that, you know, Thanksgiving is literally 3 days from now, or 2 days from now. And so I'm just interested to see what everybody's doing on Thanksgiving. Hopefully I'll have a video premiere there. So if you're not really hanging out with family, but you want a community where you can still chat, I'm hoping that I can actually have a video there. It just depends on whether I'm able to film some content. I may put out a compilation or a marathon video. Hopefully you will still tune in. I know not everybody chooses to watch those, but if you want to support me and you want to just hear me talk, or you miss chatting with all of the Plant Foldies, definitely tune into the plant shopping marathons, the compilations I make. It's actually longer format, so it's going to be about minimum 2 hours. But hey, if you're doing your plant, you know, your plant chores, or you're just hanging around the house and you want to hear me talk about plants, you can always tune into the plant shopping compilations or marathons. They're a little bit more long playing. And as you can see right here, I'm still walking around picking up these succulents and cactus. Now this Kalanchoe right here, I love it because it has that texture on the leaves, that fuzzy texture that I like. And then check out this Echeveria right here. This is the Rubik's Cube one, and you can see that there are 3 plants there. I think at some point I'm gonna actually read up about succulents and cactus. I think I'm gonna try to really familiarize myself with certain varieties to where I can tell you the plant ID. You know, as far as like a lot of the indoor tropical plants, I'm able to at least let you know the plant names. But as far as succulents and cactus, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of them look very similar. So it makes it a little bit more challenging for me to actually identify that. Now, live Christmas trees. Let's talk about live Christmas trees. Who actually has live Christmas trees in their homes whenever you put up a Christmas tree? My family never really had live Christmas trees, but I do love the scent of them. I think the allure, or to have a live Christmas tree indoors, is because of that Christmas scent smell. And you can see that Home Depot has now gotten a lot of these live Christmas trees. And, you know, I always thought about like the sustainability of actually chopping down a bunch of these Christmas trees, but it looks like, you know, for every Christmas tree that's chopped down, about 5 new, you know, Christmas trees are actually planted. So there is some type of sustainability about it. And, you know, as far as like the live Christmas trees, it is interesting and really cool that a lot of people will actually use that Christmas tree as, you know, being recycled, actually making it into some type of lumber. So I like that there is a little bit more sustainability for live trees, like live Christmas trees. I don't really put up a Christmas tree anymore. I only did that when I was growing up with my family. You know, I'm the eldest of 3 kids. I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and they have their own families at this very minute. And, you know, when everybody asks me when I actually celebrate the holidays, I tend to do it on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. New Year's Eve is very important to me just because I always want to make sure that I can make it to the next year. It's very important. So I don't do anything too crazy. I would say when I was a little bit younger, I would be out, you know, out and about with people. But nowadays, I just like to hang out with my family and just, you know, count down the new year and really just be thankful for some of the blessings I've received over the years. You know, heading into 2025, I definitely want to make sure that I'm consistently working on my health, being more active, eating right, and also just being more mindful about my plants. That's something I really want to improve on. I mean, this whole plant journey, me talking about, big box store plants has really had me slow down a little bit and really admire the fact that there's just a lot of people that love plants. And it's interesting because some of the people you may not necessarily think will be into plants will surprise you, and then all of a sudden they invite you into their homes, and then you can see that they have hundreds of plants as well. I am curious to ask all of the plant foldies that have at least invested this much time to listen to me talk about just things in general. I wouldn't necessarily say a lot about the plants. I mean, I am really excited that I was able to at least feature a lot of the new Proven Winners plants at the very beginning of this video, but I'm just curious to see what plants you're really growing in your plant collection, what plants you prefer, or are you like me where basically any plant could bring you joy? If you're gonna ask me what plants are my number one plant or my top plants, number one would definitely be Aglaonemas. I'm getting another set of imported Aglaonemas from Indonesia in the next week from Green Spaces ID, and then also pothos plants. Like I've gotten to the point now where, again, I want to keep things basic, I want to keep things simple, and I want to keep things cost effective, and like pothos plants are super easy. I did go to a local plant nursery called Plants and Planters in Richardson, Texas. I have not been in a while, and I saw a bunch of gorgeous hanging baskets in large form Aglaonemas. So definitely stay tuned for that video. If you're going to look at one of the best places to buy hanging baskets of plants, whether it's Hoyas or different types of hanging basket plants, definitely go to Plants and Planters. And if you are an Aglaonema lover like myself, and I would think at this point you would be since you've been watching my videos, check out Plants and Planters. I ended up splurging and buying some large form Aglaonemas, and they were really cost effective. But as you can see right here, as I wrap up this video, this video, you can see that they do have a lot of these seasonal plants. As far as these like pine plants, I'm curious for those that actually make bonsai, if you use these plants like the dwarf Alberta spruce plants, these cypress plants, if you actually make them into bonsai, I would think that they would be really good pre-bonsai. And for those that don't know what the term bonsai is, it's basically the art of growing a miniature tree. Anyways, if you guys like this video this evening, please make sure you hit the like button. I've had fun just talking to y'all today, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel at Grow Folds. This is Richie. I'll have a brand new video tomorrow. Bye.